Hi, Lori Ballen here with LoriBallen.com and BallenBlogger.com and a few other .coms. Today we're going to discuss 15 crucial things that you need to do after installing WordPress. I've been teaching how to build real estate agent websites for over a decade now, and WordPress became my favorite many, many years ago. And I'm very, very passionate about all of the things that you can do with WordPress, and not just for real estate. I have WordPress for a food blog, my ketodays.com ketogenic lifestyle blog. I have one for my lifestyle blog, which is midlifemonarch.com. I have a WordPress for my affiliate marketing website, which is the7thstream.com. I'll put links below because you might want to go check them out. I've got 2 real estate websites, at least, that are running and I'm working on, that are on WordPress. I have several. I have many. And I have one that teaches all blogging, and I have one that teaches real estate agents, and they're all on WordPress. Okay, you get the idea. But using WordPress is only as good as what you, the user, actually does with the website. WordPress is incredibly SEO friendly. Now, those of you that have followed me for a while know that search engine optimization is my favorite thing. I love when somebody goes to Google and types in a specific query. They're looking for something that they want to learn or something they want to do, and they find my website. They're much more likely to convert than when I just interrupt them on social media. So while I do social media marketing as well, I am still an SEO girl at heart. So everything I do is focused on, can I get this to rank on the search engines? Unless it has a very specific side purpose, such as I'm going to create a pin on Pinterest, and so I need a perfect little short article to connect to that, and I'm not really trying to rank on the search engines. That would be different. But WordPress does all of that, okay? So let's get into the 15 crucial things to do after you install WordPress. And I also want to let you know what you're looking at here. This is BallenBlogger.com, and this is a WordPress website, and I put the Essence Pro theme on here. I'll put a link below. If you are a do-it-yourselfer and you feel confident with updating your own theme and changing all the layouts and setting up the homepage, I have a tutorial video that shows you step-by-step how to do it. I also have videos on how to set up your real estate agent website, which I'll also include. But if you're not a do-it-yourselfer and you need help, my brothers Jeff and Paul build these, and you can find them at ballenbrands.com. And that's my brother's company, okay? All right. So I've got this blog right here, and it has the 15 things written in it, but I'm not just going to read them to you. That'd be a boring video. I'm going to show you the elements. So I wanted you to be able to find the blog, though, in case you need the guide after you watch the video or while you're following along. So ballenblogger.com/ and then I've got 15 crucial things to do after installing WordPress. So link is below. It'll say follow this blog, and then you can click over and you can follow this specifically, okay? But the title is 15 crucial things to do after installing WordPress. All right. So let's go down, and we're going to go in a row here, and I'm going to talk about what each thing is, and then you'll have the ability to set yours up, okay? So in a new tab here, I have my website, Ballen Blogger, open, and I'm going to click right here to go to the dashboard. So all I did is I hovered over the name of my website up in the left-hand corner, and then I click on the dashboard. Okay. Now on the left, you'll see the little blog says, find the settings link. Here you'll add the important settings for your blog or website. So I'm going to go through these, and we'll just go over to the settings, which is right here. This is your sidebar or left-hand column. You're going to go down to settings. All right. Now, in my blog, you'll see that I've broken down all the different categories, the general, the reading, all of that, okay? But I'm going to go through them now with you. So the first thing you have is your site title. So obviously this can be your .com, or it can be your name. It can be your brand, and it doesn't have to match your domain address, your website address. Mine does, because the brand is Ballen Blogger. And that's what my Pinterest is, and that's what my Instagram is, and that's what all of those channels, my YouTube channel is for that particular brand, for this website alone. So for me, it's Ballen Blogger. Let's just say you were Jeff Helvin Realtor. That's my brother. His .com doesn't have to say jeffhelvinrealtor.com. But he wants everybody to know it's Jeff Helvin Realtor's website when they land there. But maybe his .com is Vegas Homes Today or bestinvegas.houses.com, whatever. So they don't have to match, okay? Now your tagline, it depends on your theme, whether or not this actually appears. So I've got Ballen Blogger, how to build a blog. That's just was something I put in there very basic. It wasn't appearing on my website. But I might put something like how to build a better blog is actually what I've started using. Okay. And then you have your WordPress URL. So this is your .com, or you might be using .info or .org or .ly or .ly or .io, whatever. It's WordPress URL is right here. You're not going to change that once it's in there. Okay. And then you have your administrative address. Membership. Do you want people to be able to join your website? If you don't have a purpose for that, you can leave that unchecked. Anybody that subscribes to your website, or they become a new user on your website for some reason, what role do you want them to have? Now, if you click on this little arrow, I'll talk more about roles in another video. But you have a customer, subscriber, shop manager, contributor, author, editor, administrator, because each of those things give them different privileges. So WordPress automatically has a set of privileges that are assigned to a particular type of user based on how you set people up. That's all that they'll be able to do. So a subscriber is just going to be able to read things, and that's the way I have it by default. A contributor is going to have a little bit more rights. An author is going to have a little bit more. An editor is going to have a little bit more. And of course, an administrator can delete, remove, get rid of your whole website, that type of thing. So I have default, everybody is a subscriber. Next, you choose your site language and your time zone. Date format, I like mine to be in the full date format. And some of these are by default. When you automatically install WordPress, you're going to see some of these settings are already selected for you. You don't have to go in and change things or add new things unless there's something that I say that you say, oh, let me go change that because I like what she said better. Otherwise, some of these will just be in here by default, okay? And then what day do you want your week to start on? And then you can click Save Changes. Next, we're going to go to writing. Give that a second to catch up with us there. Okay, so what do you want your default post category to be? Now, by default, it actually says uncategorized. We don't want that. So this is one of those things that you definitely do want to go in and change on your WordPress website. You're going to want to have a category that anything you don't give it. Okay, so let me slow down for a second. When you create articles on your website, blog posts on your website, you're generally going to choose a blog post and it goes in a particular category. So on my real estate website, I might have living in Las Vegas. That's a category. And then when I talk about specific things like the airport or transportation or things like that, they go under that living in category. And then I have a best of category, and those are best pizza, best restaurants, best hospitals, best pet walkers, you know, that type of thing. And then I might have things to do. So things to do in Vegas. And I have all of my posts that I talk about things to do would go in that category. Well, if I forget to mark a particular category, it needs to go somewhere. So by default, yours will go in the uncategorized unless you tell it where you want it to go. Okay. So once you get your blog set up, you're going to want to go in and create one of these. Now, if you don't have any categories set up yet, go over here to the left-hand side and hover over posts, and you're going to see categories. Right-click on categories with your mouse and open it in a new tab or a new window. Or if you're not doing any work yet, you can just click right on categories. And then go ahead and rename your uncategorized folder. It could just say blog if you want everything by default to go in there, okay? But you're definitely going to want to set that up right out of the gate. That's one of the important things, okay? And then you're going to have these are all, I don't change anything there. These are standard. And then your default mail category. So those, you probably don't need to change anything else on this page. And then you're going to go down to the reading setting. We're still in settings. Now, you might be wondering about how I get the little blocks to show up on my website because I'm using WordPress and I've enabled the Gutenberg Blocks. Well, when you first set up your website, potentially you will see a little toggle like these little dots, and it'll say enable blocks. And I believe that's here in the reading section. It's either in the reading or the writing, but I believe it's in the reading. So if you don't have Gutenberg enabled, you might have to go into your settings and just toggle that on. So you're looking for enable blocks or enable Gutenberg blocks because it's blocks that you have to have enabled to get that to work, like you're going to possibly see me do in this video, or you have definitely seen me do in other videos. Okay. And then you can play around with how your layout looks. And I don't want to get overcomplicated in this video, but here I have my home page. So if you go to ballenblogger.com, which I'm going to go ahead and click here just to go to the home page to show you what I'm talking about. I have a specific page that I have selected to be my home page that everybody lands on. Oops, I went to the settings. Let me just go back there. If I were to remove that page and say just show a list of recent blogs, then it would go back to be kind of a generic blog digest page. But I created something very specific that has articles listed a certain way. I'm recording this in 4K, so it's taking a little bit longer. I've noticed that on all of our internet around here, it's been slow. Hold on a second. Let me get to ballenblogger.com. In fact, yesterday it went out completely. All the kids are at home on the computers, and I have the highest speed available here. Okay, here we go. Okay, so this is the home page. Now, having a home page pre-selected, it gave me the ability to create this header, this call to action with these buttons, and then I'm able to play around with the various styling of how my blogs appear. You're welcome to go on, look at this on your computer to load fast when you're not streaming like I am. There we go. Okay. So I've got them in sections. I have one section for marketing tools, and I have one section for WordPress blog stuff, and I've got one section for YouTube and marketing tools. So I have a particular page that is selected. Okay. And then if I go over to my Hyperlocal website, GoSummerlin.com, you'll see the same idea. So this GoSummerlin.com is also one of my real estate websites, and it is specifically for a hyperlocal area that I market called Summerlin, which is where I live. And you can see both of these themes are the same, yet there are some differences. This one has an IDX widget search right up top, where the other one had a call to action to join the mailing list and subscribe. The other one had a great big featured image for one blog, and this one has neighborhoods all listed there. Again, you can pop it up on your computer. It'll pull up faster for you there than when I'm streaming, but you'll get the idea. So in order to control what these pages look like, there is a home page template that if you're using the Essence Pro theme, you're going to see it. Again, you've got to learn how to edit those blocks, how to create those neighborhood pages. I teach all of that, especially in my courses at ballenacademy.com. Ballenacademy.com. Yeah, I had to think about it. The ballenmethod.com. Either one will get you there. And I teach you how to do all of this. But you can also just call Jeff and Paul at Ballen Brand so they can build it for you. Whatever's easier for you if you need help with this and need a new website. So you can play around with those different ideas. As a matter of fact, even my ketodays.com, these are, by the way, child themes of the Genesis framework. So I love Genesis framework. Some people love Elementor. Some people love Divi themes or Thrive themes. There are all these different little builders. I got started on Genesis early, and I've been using it for a long time, so it works well. So anyway, you can go over to the Keto website and you can see the exact same thing, but again, different layout. This time I've got great big bold recipes. So it works for all of these different things. But you have to have your reading settings selected to show that home page in order to get this kind of a design for your home page. Otherwise, you just get a list of blocks. That's like a standard default, okay? If you have questions about this, by the way, just pop them into the video there, and as soon as I see the little notification, I come on and help as soon as I can. I try to be very responsive. I do have multiple YouTube channels, so I have to be logged in to catch that one at that time, but I will look for them. Okay, then you're going to go down to, I'm not going to worry too much about these two. Let's go to permalinks. We'll hop over and check my checklist in a minute too to see if there was anything important in anything that I skipped. Okay, this is very important. One of the most important things on your website. By default, your WordPress theme should be set right down here, post name, and this should be your permalink structure. So your permalink is your top level domain name, or TLD, and in this case, my top level domain name is ballenblogger.com. Everything that comes after the slash then is going to become part of that permalink, and that permalink is the web address for whatever page you build. Every page on your website, every post on your website, your images, your media files, all of these have potential to have their own permalink. Sometimes there's some settings to remove that, like with images, but you'll see this a lot. But especially with your posts, your pages, your categories, your tags, your media files, you're going to see that they all have a URL. That's how the web knows what page to send people to. You never want to change that after you set it up once, unless you have expert help or you really know what you're doing, or you will break all of your pages. Okay? So do it early. Go in here, and you want it to be this one, because this is going to be clean looking. It's going to show the whatever the site page title is after the slash. It may have keywords in that slug, the words after the slash called the slug. Okay, so you don't want it to have numbers. You don't want it to have symbols. I used to love to have the category hierarchy in the permalink, and I just notice it gets too long, that the permalink gets, the URL just gets really long, and I don't think it's as user friendly. So while I do think it has some SEO benefit, I think you lose some of the click-throughs when you have an ugly URL. And so this is where we've pretty much all gone now, is just top level domain / and then there's going to be a page title or post title. Okay. So that's going to be really important there. All right. Now let's hop back over and look at our 15 steps there. Oh, hold on. Let me pop that back open because I closed it somehow. I'm going to use the search box, and we're just going to put 15 crucial, because I know we said that. There we go. Okay, we're going to check there's more. Don't leave yet. There's more, unless you're going to pause and bookmark it and come back. Okay, so let's open this up. Okay. Open. Okay, here we go. Okay, you can see here if you're setting your stuff up, you can go back through here and you'll notice all of my notes if there's anything that I missed that you specifically want to know about. First one was all of your settings. Allowing or disallowing comments, that's going to be a personal preference. If you are creating a thought leader kind of a blog where people are going to follow you, the person, the brand, and they're going to comment on all your blogs, you're going to want to have comments on. If you're creating articles that are designed to be discovered on the search engines for people that pop by to learn a very specific thing and then they're gone, you may not want comments on, because you're going to get a whole bunch of spam. And there's some plugins that can help control some of that, but it's really just a personal option and based on what kind of blog you're building. Okay. And sometimes you might start off with disallowed and then turn them on as your blog grows, or vice versa. So you'll have to test it. That's something you can turn on or off over time while you have your website. But you do want to make sure you're monitoring, because that spam can be really gross and ugly. Okay. We covered your reading settings. And there's a little bit more on there on the blog on how to create some of those big blocks that I showed you on the homepage, and how to change how many blog posts show up on your archive pages. We covered how to set up your permalinks. Okay, 5. What was 5? Hold on a second. Set up an automated table of contents. Okay. So do you see this block right here that has a numbered list? There are 10 items on that list, and it tells people what is on that page. This table of contents is a very valuable item to improve the user experience. When somebody lands on your website and you have long form content, which means, let's just say 1,000 words or more, and let's say you might have 5 very specific small paragraph topics within one article. So let's do an example. I just published a blog this morning on the best donuts in Las Vegas. So where to go get the best donuts in Las Vegas. That's on my Las Vegas real estate Hyperlocal website. And I've got each one of the places, their name, their hours, their address, what they serve, why they're special, any special notation. And it's 2,000 words long. And for people to have to scroll, especially on their phone, to get down to see the next or see the next, see the next. They usually don't, and you're going to lose them. But when you create a list, they can click on any one of those items. It'll shoot them right down the page to exactly that item. So it takes them exactly where they want to go. So it also improves increases actions on your page, which can be a positive quality signal to Google, helping you rank better. The table of contents can also become site links on a search engine. I'm not going to get into that too much, but I will just tell you that it's really cool when somebody Googles something and they're looking at the search engine results page, the SERPs we call them, the search engine results pages, and they see all these people that just have a title and a description, but then you have 3 blue links right underneath your description that you didn't have to pay for. Those are site links, and those can help you get more clicks as well. A lot of times the table of contents can help. Google will pull from the table of contents and create those site links, okay? Can also become part of a featured snippet in that 0 position. Lots of great reasons to include a table of contents. Now, the best part about this is it's automatic once you install it, okay? So all you have to do to upload it, and just for the sake of slow internet when I'm streaming 4K, I'm going to tell you what you need to do is just go to your blog's plugins, which you're going to find right here. Go to plugins, and then you're just going to use the little search box, and you're going to look for easy table of contents, or you can just type in table of contents. I think it's easy. There's table of contents plus, and there's easy table of contents, and then there's some kind of contents pro. They all do the same thing as far as I can tell. And I think they're all free. I don't know if there's any upgrades, but I think they're all free. And how they work is once you upload it, what's going to happen is every time you create a blog and you give your paragraph a heading like this is a heading. So that specifically is an H2. When you're adding blocks on WordPress, it's really easy to just change the little button. There's a little in the editor, there's an H1, H2, H3, H4, and it changes the size of that header. And it also helps create a table of contents style writing where the most important thing is heading 1, and then underneath that you might have heading 2, and then underneath that you might have heading 3. Like if you're making notes, it might look like a table of table of contents. Anyway, most of the cases are your web page itself has a title, and that's automatically your H1. That's automatically the most important thing on the page, that page title. And then each one of those paragraph headings are typically H2, okay? Sometimes you'll use an H3 and H4 as you drill down. We're not going to get into all that today. I've got plenty of videos on how to use heading tags. But anyway, that table of contents will be created out of these H2s automatically as long as you create a certain number of them. So when you upload your easy table of contents or table of contents plus whatever you install, in the settings, it'll say, when do you want the table of contents to appear? When you have 3 or more headings, 4 or more headings, 5 or more headings? Do you only want to include the H2s in your table of contents, or do you also want to include the H3s, H4s? Your choice. Do you want the table of contents to be full width of the page, or do you want it to be a little drop down on the side? What colors do you want it to be? You have lots of choices. You can play with that table of contents, okay? But I highly recommend installing the table of contents. Okay. Again, or calling my brothers, Jeff and Paul. They can help you with all that as well. Number 6 on our list, install your SEO plugin. So I'm going to refer you again to this blog post where I have all of my links. I definitely like Yoast, which is the most popular SEO plugin, but I don't like their pricing structure. It makes me crazy because for those of us that have a suite of websites, Yoast is too expensive because you're paying so much for each one. Where if you install something like SEO Press or all-in-one SEO, I'm looking because I can't remember them all off the top of my head. You're going to get, you can put a lot, I don't know what the number is, if it's 10 websites or what it is, for the one number. And they all of these plugins do very similar things. A lot of people said they're all the same, and I don't agree that they're all the same. You know, there are certain things that I like better about Yoast. There's certain things that I like better about all-in-one SEO. There's certain things I like better about SEO Press. So that's just kind of how it goes. You got to figure out what you're wanting to use, but they all pretty much do the same thing as far as creating a site map, you know, scoring how well you included your keywords. You know, if you're looking for the dot to turn green, all of those are going to have those types of things. I think SEO Press also includes automatic video sitemap, and you don't have to pay extra for that like you do with Yoast. So I definitely think SEO Press and all-in-one SEO are more cost effective for those of us, definitely, at least that have more than one website. Okay, so pick one and get something set up. Don't just install it to install it, though. Go through the settings, everything. It's going to ask you, what's the name of your company? Upload a logo. What type of business are you? Because it's setting up schema for you, which helps automatically mark up your website for Google to enrich your content with data for them that helps them figure out who you are and what your content is about. So you definitely want to go through that and set that up at least once, okay? Or just don't do an SEO plugin at all and just create your content. That's an option. But you don't want to just install the plugin just to install it. You definitely want to be using it and go in and set it up. Most of these guys have a free and then an upgrade of some sort. Okay. Set up Google Analytics. You got to set up Google Analytics. Google Analytics. In fact, just this morning, I've started a new income stream, which is publishing. So by publishing, I'm talking about monetized YouTube channels and ads on my website. So ads on my YouTube channels and ads on my website. And I love it. I just love it, love it, love it so much. And I can't wait to see where it grows. But this morning I was logged into Google Analytics, looking at my Google AdSense, because you start with Google AdSense, then you work your way up to the more premium advertisers when you have a certain amount of traffic. And it was fun to see which pages are bringing me exactly how many dollars each month, because then I know what to create more content like, because we want to follow that. We want to follow, this is where your money is. This is what people like. This is what Google likes. This is what you're being rewarded for financially. So create more of this. And Google Analytics gives us that data. And it gives us that data whether you're paying for ads or not paying for ads, as long as you go in and set up Google Analytics. So in this description below, I'll give you a link on for a video on how to go set up Google Analytics as well. Okay, it's also on this blog. So if you click that link, you'll also be taken to the instructions on how to set that up, okay? Number 8, set up Google Search Console. Along the same lines of Google Analytics is Google Search Console, but Google Search Console, formerly known as Google Webmaster Tools, shows you messages from Google that are going to be very important for you to see regarding penalties or your website being hacked or something like that. It also gives you a list of your most popular keywords that people are using to find your website and the click-through rate. How many people are clicking? How many times is it shown? How many times are they clicking? And then you've really got some good data on how to improve your website. So Google Analytics is giving you more of, these are your most popular pages. Google Search Console is giving you more data related specific to the query they're using on Google, what they're typing in. Okay, so that's really important to do. Then we have number 9, activate blocks. So I already talked about that. So you want to go to settings, readings, and then toggle that blocks editor to on so that you can activate your blocks. Number 10, set up your categories. So I already covered that actually earlier in our settings. when I said that your blogs were uncategorized by default. Number 11, add forms. Okay, so forms are very, very easy to set up on your website. There are so many form creators. And by form, I'm talking about like your contact us form or feedback or get help or whatever it is that you want to collect their information. Maybe it could be a subscriber form on every page. But you can actually set this up and have a forms appear only when you select them. When you create the blog post, there's a little option to add a contact form or feedback form, something like that. Or you can set it up to automatically show up on every website, in the sidebar, or on the bottom of every page. Not to be confused with your calls to action, like your pop-ups or your slide-ins or your hello bar. A form usually looks like a form, and it's got first name, last name, email, and then something like that. And it's usually towards the bottom of the page or in a sidebar without any pop-ups or anything like that. Can be really, really good for finding out what people need from you on your website. So a few of those plugins that you might check out are Ninja Forms, Gravity Forms, WP Forms. Again, if you come back to this website, I've got several links there that you can check out. Number 12, add your key pages. So your key pages are going to be your contact us, your meet the team, test or your about page, testimonials, your location, your shop, something like that. These are going to be your key pages that are going to be in your menu on your website, that are the places you want people to be able to go. If you only had 5 buttons up here on your website, what are they? What are the most important ones that people would go to? You don't want to skimp on setting up that kind of content, especially your about page. If you're a real estate agent, I actually have a blog on LoriBallen.com that teaches you how to create the perfect about me page, but that crosses over to not just real estate agents. It would be for anybody. Set up your user profile. So in your blog settings, I'm going to go back over here for a second. Oh, hold on. Logging me out. Let me just see this 1 second. Okay, back in. Okay. So right under here, we're going to go down to user, or sorry, up here. We're going to go to users. And I'm going to click on your profile. Your profile is going to be used in, oh, there it goes again. Hold on. Okay, your profile is going to be used in certain widgets and areas on your website, including the author box if you have the author box enabled. So you're going to want to set this up. Now, there is something with Google called EAT, where it's looking at expertise, authority, and trust. And one of the things that it uses when it looks at a website and at blog posts and decides who to rank for a particular keyword phrase or which page to return in the results for a specific query, it's looking for expertise. Is the person that wrote this article an expert on the topic? Well, you can help yourself by setting up your profile correctly and using some keywords in your biographical info that validate who you are as an author. Who are you as the person writing this? You know, if you are a Las Vegas real estate agent, for example, on my Las Vegas real estate website or my Summerlin website, in that biographical info, it says Lori Ballen has been a real estate agent in Las Vegas since 2007. She's been a resident of Las Vegas since she was 5 years old and raised 2 beautiful daughters through the Summerlin school system and Clark County School District. You know, it's got info in there that's basically positioning me as an authority on the topics that are on the blog. On my Keto Days one, I talk about losing 50 pounds on the keto diet, getting certified as a ketogenic lifestyle coach. On my Ballen Blogger one, I talk about how I've earned 6 figures a year in blogging or affiliate income. So that's an important section here to include. So definitely take the time to go in and set up your user profile and be sure to include the appropriate keywords in that description. And I don't mean blogging, comma, Pinterest, comma, social media. I mean, when you're talking about yourself in the third person as in a biography, you're just going to want to make sure those words are somewhere included in the natural language of the description. Okay. And then put security in place. So WordPress is famous for being hacked. And one of the reasons why this happens so much is because the plugins that we add, and for those that don't know, plugins are free or paid little pieces of software that we can upload from a zip file, or we can just click a button to install it right from the WordPress store there. Those little pieces of software add functionality to your website in some way. They add forms, they add, I mean, there's just a gazillion things that they do, changing the functionality. And they sometimes become vulnerable to hackers being able to hack into that plugin. And this is especially true for those of you that don't update your website on a regular basis. If you're not logging in, you're not clicking update and updating those plugins, they're vulnerable to hackers. So all the time I'm getting messages from WordFence, which is who I have on mine, and it'll say WordFence has discovered a vulnerability in the Gravity Forms plugin. That's just an example. There's nothing wrong with Gravity Forms, but they've all at one time had something. And you don't need to take any action, but we wanted you to be aware of this. And it's because it's running in the background and it's helping to make sure that all of my stuff is updated. There are certain website hosts also that you can set up with that will automatically do updates. Talk to Jeff and Paul, my brothers at ballenbrands.com, about their web hosting services that automatically keep your website updated so that you don't have to go in there and check on those plugins all the time. And I believe their hosting also includes antivirus software and things like that. 15 is set up your menu. So your menu is the items that are on the top of your website. What I'm going to do, because that's like a whole other hour-long video on its own, I'm going to include for you a link. If you might see it up here, you might see it in the description below. Look for the one that says WordPress menus, setting up your WordPress menus. I have a super advanced video that teaches you how to set up the menus, the sub-menus, everything you need to know about WordPress menus. So you're going to want to make sure you get that set up as well. And then in the bonus section here, I give you some little extras about uploading your favicon or site icon, creating your logo, getting set up with Canva Pro, using Pinterest, installing social plugins, installing your internal linking tools that are really cool if you're doing affiliate marketing or you're doing SEO. Those are some great tools for you. Creating your lead magnet, your subscriber forms, your email databases, and installing your spell check and more software, and even how to make your website a store, e-commerce, where you can actually put products up there and sell them. That's all here on this blog as well, and I'm going to put the link in there for you as well. I'm Lori Ballen. I hope that you have enjoyed this video. Check out ballenacademy.com if you're interested in my courses. And I'm in Las Vegas if you have any real estate referrals. Thank you so much for joining me today.